Oh, how the white people like directly wasted my entire relationship time and then hit me, and then what they represented. Well, it's real easy. There was only two white women that I slept with. One was Jessica, and one was Becky Rebecca. So they had the Jesus versus Boogeyman thing. And by the way, both of their last names were Miller. Okay, so Jessica was in fact a successful cougar and a gold digging bitch. So Jessica I met in massage therapy, and she was divorcing her husband, so she's in massage to then have a career for herself. And at the time, she lived near me, just like a few minutes away, and was living with her father and sister, and had already moved out of the house from the husband who she was divorcing. And then she's dating an ophthalmologist, I guess over her blue eyes, because she's a blue-eyed blonde. And she's pretty good looking. She's not all bad, but she's pretty hot. And so she's divorcing her husband, in school, dating the ophthalmologist, and now she's dating me. Who we met in class. And we live very close to each other. So we start, dating, and then we have friends who we're hanging out with. And then her best friend is married, and she's cheating on her husband with who becomes my best friend. So we're both dating married women, but the one I was dating is getting divorced and is dating someone else. So I'm like, I could give a shit, right? So anyway, Jessica ends up graduating, ditching all three of us. The 1, 2, 3. Divorces the husband, dumps the ophthalmologist, dumps me. And then she gets her massage career and then meets a man, pretty decently successful man, and goes and has kids and gets married. Bam. And that's Jessica, that's her. She's the cougar. She's the gold digging bitch success story. Okay, and then there's Becky Rebecca, who they use as a hit on me to make fun of me and do some trade thing where it's the opposite. So they directly had this big, she was part of the Labor Day rape bait entrapment involving the guy who then got me arrested. There they hit me with the rape bait hit on Labor Day, right before they arrested me in 2021 over my next door neighbor, where they arrested me in 2017. Now this is 2021, over I lived at 219. For the second entrapment. And then afterward, while I was selling the condo, I was living there, and they hit me with Rebecca, who hit on me while I was in the laundry room. Because they had Wi-Fi and mine went out, so I was playing my VR in the laundry room. And she came in and started hitting on me. around Christmas time. And then on the day of Christmas is when we started dating. And she had messy boxes all in her place, mold in the bathroom, concrete floor to represent a basement floor. And she was an alcoholic with a beer can in her hand every second, smoking pot, which... And she also, right when we started dating, got dogs, which shit all over the floor, and it stunk like dog shit everywhere. Her parents, who was a big man, her stepfather, and her mother was a Halloween jack-o'-lantern. So, who was supplying them with pot and lived in Indiana. And then she, I kept breaking up with her because she's so nasty and mean. But we dated for a little more than 2 years. And she was a total prostitute about sex. Where I had inheritance money and was trying, before I got here, and I just sold the condo, so I had money after the condo. And I was spending money on her, not that much, but, I was buying her presents and we were going on dates. And so she was sleeping with me to keep that going. And then when I ran out of money, she quit having sex with me. Okay. And then, while one of the times we broke up, she found a Mexican bum to live with her who cleaned her place. And that was one who was actually Filipino. It was not Mexican. And was a U.S. citizen. But him and I became friends. And then he's Mexican, not even. So he went to go live with her parents in Indiana and do yard work. Where he got a free place to stay, all the alcohol and smokes he could have, and he got the extra bedroom they had. And so, like, me and Juan used to hang out. I had a problem with Juan at first because I didn't know his whole deal, but then I got to know him. He's cool. He's funny. But then... So I didn't have a problem with one. I broke up with her anyway. I don't give a shit. Like, I'm 40. I don't give a shit about women anyway. And I broke up with her, so I understand. And then what else? She's got all these dogs. She had this whole dog thing, and then anyway, that's Rebecca. So that's the two women they hit me with over white women. Who totally, they cotton blocked me and ruined my life to hit me with these two fucking idiots. Oh, why is Bloody Mary? And, part of the hit was from England, where I studied abroad in college. And while I was in England, they hit me. Because I was in school, so we went to the huge church in London for one of the field trips. It was an archaeology class, so we went to a different archaeological site in England every 2 days called Not Just Stonehenge. But one of those was the Cathedral Church of London. And while we were in church, before we got in there, I started talking to one of the females in the class. And she was a white woman, about my age, maybe a little younger. And we sat together in church. And there was no one in the church because it was on a weekday. And it's a huge church. So we're kind of in the middle back, off to the side, and we're talking, just very quietly, but talking, and they hit me over with a Asian woman because it was Arabian Jesus stuff. So an Asian woman who they had go to a bar that was set up by this guy who asked me if I wanted to hang out with a bunch of people, and then she was there and she hit on me. So I dated an Asian the whole time who played a clarinet. And anyway, then I was also talking to a Russian chick who looked a lot like Jessica. And when I got back, I believe it's linked to that, and also the fact that I'm an ominous eclectic. I'm not Christian, and they consider me a heretic. So I think that had a lot to do with, I don't expect government to intervene with the relationships. I don't expect church to. But the fact is, I believe they hit me. I know how to date women. Acquaintances from friends, groups you might join, sometimes religious groups too. And then, of course, there's the online dating stuff. Or just going to bars and going out to coffee shops and meeting people. So I know. So it's not like I expect a female. Plus, I know there's the 13th Amendment. And even if there were soulmates, which I don't believe in, they're free to live their lives. But they shouldn't get in my way of what I'm doing to make freedom statements at me using doppelganger peers or lookalikes to hit me. I'm trying to live my life. Like I said, I know the laws, I know the rules, and I'm just trying to live my life. So I ain't got time for all this Bloody Mary and all these minority divas and majority divas and